everyone, today I am going to be demonstrating how to make one of the Ethiopian and Eritrean bread. And now emphasis on one of, because there is quite a few variety of bread made by different tribes and within tribes as well. But the one I'm demonstrating today is called qitta in Ethiopia, qitta in Eritrea, and in Australia it's known by Turkish bread. So a pretty easy bread to make. You only need a couple of ingredients. I've got here yeast, so I'll start with mixing up the activators, which is the yeast, one cup of warm water, and another cup of flour. So this is just plain flour. Now mix this together until nice and smooth. Nicely mixed. Now we will set aside this until it looks a bit bubbly already, but until the yeast is activated, and then we'll add further ingredients. So set aside and wait for about 10 minutes. All right guys, now this has been sitting for 10 minutes, so we're just gonna have a look. All right, so it looks fairly activated. The bubbles are nice, and the feel of it is nice and elastic. So we'll continue with the rest of the recipe, which is a third of a cup of olive oil, and a teaspoon of salt, and another third of water. Now I have to mention the flour has been sifted, so I pre-sifted it before starting this preparation. So I will put into this the rest of the flour, and I'll work it with my hands. It's just easier when you're using your hands for those people who may not have access to electrical devices to do this stuff. All right, so just free my whisk. Alright, so when I am putting the rest of the flour, it's going to be a step-by-step process, because it could just so that I can get the right kind of consistency in the flour. And that right kind of consistency is kind of not too thick, kind of sticky sort of. Now I have a sifted flour of 3.5 cups here. This is already a nice consistency that I've got, but I am just going to knead it for another 5 minutes, just to make sure everything is mixed well. Kind of free my hands and so this is the kind of consistency I want. I don't want it to be too hard. So now I'm going to leave this for about 45 minutes, or the best guide is until it's completely risen to twice its size, and then from there we will make the kita. All right, so let's leave aside and we'll come back to it. Alright, so our dough has been sitting for about 30 minutes, so let's just have a look. Well, so this is not just double the size that we prepared, but triple. I think it has risen really, really well. So next step is preparation, more preparation. So let's start by dusting with flour the surface that we are working on. And bring out the dough. It looks absolutely gorgeous and soft and fluffy. So we're just gonna Alright, so now I'm just going to cut it into equal parts. Now I do do have a dough cutter somewhere, but this is what is near me at the moment, so I'm just going to use this. Alright, so there we go, we've got our first one, which we will roll into a ball. Put aside. Second one. Right, so now we've got perfectly round equal parts, which I am going to use a rolling pin to flatten. So let's start with this one. Don't know how much you can see, but now I've lost the handle of my rolling pin, but it's my favorite rolling pin, so I'm just working with it without the handle, and so far that seems to be working fine. So one is done, so I'll just set this aside and do the same with the others. Second one. All right, so we have rolled all of our dough into 6 equal parts. So now we're just going to cover it again with a tea towel, and we're just gonna leave it for another 20 minutes before we start baking. All right, so I will be back in 20 minutes to show you what happens next. All right, we are now at baking stage, and I have been preheating a pan with some brushed olive oil on it. So we just bring the dough that we prepared one at a time and just bake it on here. So as you can see, this one is ballooning away, so this can easily be turned into a pocket braid as well, so it's absolutely gorgeous. But I'll show you what we do with braid like this, in addition to just having it with tea for breakfast. There is also other ways that it's served, and today I'm going to show you one way, which is called chechebsa, and it requires a use of the clarified butter that we prepared earlier in one of my videos. So I'll show you that, and I'll also show you how we could use it as a pocket braid. So normally, if not all of them will be ballooning out like we saw, and being suitable for a pocket braid. So when I use it for fur, it's usually the ones that haven't risen like we've seen today. So this one I'll definitely use as a pocket braid, but I'll show you there will be one or two that won't be. Otherwise, there is another type of braid that we make as well. So there, like I said in the beginning, there's just way too many braid types, and there is one that is a flat braid that doesn't rise, and that's also used for fur. But in my own family, this is the braid I'm familiar with, that is used for you know, that for fur. Right, it looks like this one is not lovely and brown, so I'm just going to put that out and just brushing it with olive oil.
looks like we are going to get some air in between for this one as well, which is perfectly fine. It's lovely. All right, I'm just going to turn this. Gorgeous. Now with pocket breads, I think I've shown you the cauliflower, fried cauliflower that can go in between as well. And I haven't demonstrated it yet, but I have made jackfruit, turned it into like what you would call what you would put into a tuna sandwich, so with mayonnaise. That could also go as a filling into the pocket bread. But today we're doing a staple food, so that will be demonstrating the keita and what we do with the keita, which is one of the main breakfast items is furfur, keita furfur, so I will make that. That will be part of this demonstration. I'll go on and bake all the bread and come back with keita demonstration. All right, guys, now all the bread has been done, so that's all of our bread. And there was just one bread that did not rise as well, so that's the bread I am going to use to make furfur. So first thing I'll do is just break it. I might just put this in, break it into smaller pieces like that. So that's how furfur is made. So it's just if it's injera furfur, it's injera broken into little pieces, and if it's keita furfur, it's bread broken into smaller pieces. So that's ready there. And the butter we want is the butter clarified butter we made together not long ago. So that goes into the pan to melt. And then I will put berberry. This is Ethiopian berberry. If you can't find Ethiopian berberry, just use any red chili that you can find. So I'm just gonna put, because the bread is not much, I'm just gonna put a little bit, and that melts with our clarified butter. And the next thing I will make, and this is just different for my family, but it's not the same everywhere. In other Ethiopian family houses, this is where the mixture for furfur, and so all you need is butter and chili. But in my family, because my father grew up in Egypt, he's not really very strong at the spicy and sour nature of Ethiopian and Eritrean flavors, so we usually try to tone down the chili, the chilliness of the meal. For that we usually put spiced tea. Now spiced tea here is called chai tea, and I already have a vegan chai tea that's already mixed, so I'll just put that in there. So like I said, you can, if you want to do the authentic Ethiopian and Eritrean furfur, don't put the chai tea. If you want to do it like my family, that is where we're at. So we usually tone it down somehow. So that's now ready for my broken bread. And at this point, all I need to do is mix it, coat all the bread parts with the mixture. Now Ethiopian flavors are, Ethiopian and Eritrean flavors are spicy and sour, so which is interesting because none of the other neighboring countries have that strong on spicy. Probably Morocco in Africa is also spicy food, but Ethiopian spicy is really spicy. Like, it's just really hot. So for someone like my dad who grew up in Egypt, it was just too much. So everything had to be toned down in my household, and this is one of the ways that we tone down the kitafefe. Now this kitafefe is now done. We don't need to do any more, but I'll show you how it's served. So I'll just let this sit for a minute or so, and I'll do a demonstration of how it's served. So here is our kitafefe plated. So all I need to do next to it now is I've got a vegan coconut yogurt here. So just put that on the side. Back home they would just put whatever yogurt they have available, and that's it. This is ready to serve. And I must say, normally it would be much more redder than this, because the amount of chili that would be put on, red chili would be like humongous. But obviously I'm doing it the way I'm familiar with. So you just pick it up like this, put a bit of yogurt, perfect. So that is it. After not as chili, so depending on your preference, add more chili if you need to. Otherwise, this is how it's served. Now we have made some pocket bread, so I'm going to demo the pocket bread serving as well. So let's get one that had the perfect pocket. So let's try this one. All of them did, except the one that I used for kitafefe. So I'm just gonna like that, and look how gorgeous it is inside, right? So I've got a coleslaw that I prepared for another meal, so I'm just gonna put that in there. Now the coleslaw that I'm showing you is not the creamy one. I do prepare the creamy one by using vegan mayo, but I do also use just salad dressing sometimes. Now I have already demonstrated how to make deep fried cauliflower, and I happen to have some today, so I'm just gonna use the actual bread used back home to serve it with, and that's the actual bread. The one that I demoed last time was just any bread that you would find in the supermarket. All right, so that is it. That's how we're going to serve this. Two ways of serving the bread, kita or kita, we made this morning. Thank you.